people from other parts of the world joining us, and I think that's awesome. I think the longest distance so far, unless somebody tells me differently or chats differently in the chat box, we have them coming from, I think it was Pakistan or Afghanistan. I can't remember which one. I apologize.
Uzbekistan there was.
Uzbekistan, sorry, thank you. I apologize. But that's awesome because they're like 12 hours difference. My name is Rocco Lamana. I'm the Associate Dean. There are a couple other people on here that you might hear from throughout this presentation. We have Chu Kim, who is an enrollment coordinator. She will be going over some admissions things and answering questions around admissions and enrollment processes, stuff that I can also answer, but she's better at it. And you don't want to hear my voice the whole time. And then we also have John Lord, who's a professor for the School of Accounting. He's on here with us, and he's a great resource. If you're thinking about doing the CPA exams or sitting for the CPA or working through that process, he's definitely a resource to help you, guide you through that. But he also is very knowledgeable about a lot of the courses and the program that we're talking about today. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get started. Again, take notes. We'll answer questions at the very end. Stay muted until then. And if you have questions at the end, you can also chat, but it's hard for me to manage the chat box while we're going through the presentation, so I won't answer those until the end. Okay, wonderful. Let's get started here. So Golden Gate University is a very different university than probably those that you've attended. Many people have done some research and have figured out that Golden Gate University kind of fits their niche, their need, whether it's a program or just as a demographic. Golden Gate University has been around for about, I think we're coming up on 120 years if I've done my math correctly. And the neat thing is that it's always had the same mission, meaning educating adult learners. People who have had experience in a industry who are coming back because they decided that a degree, an advanced degree in this case, is going to help them move along in their career, or maybe they're changing careers. There are some unique characteristics about Golden Gate University. I've been working for Golden Gate University for 5 years, and I'm telling you, if you can hear the excitement in my voice, it is from day one that I've had this excitement. And the reason why is because I'm an adult learner. And I've gone through programs, not at Golden Gate University, but similar colleges and universities where they really cater to this. And I think Golden Gate University has this down pat because we understand the demographic of people, the working professional, people who are doing career changes, or who are looking just to advance their career. Our classrooms are unique. We're very kind of a small university. Our classrooms are small, and you have that personal experience, which really is what people want to have. They don't want to be in an auditorium with 100+ students. That might have been okay for your undergraduate. For your graduate program, you really want that intimate experience with your classmates as well as your professors. The material, and it's kind of corny, we use this real world term. What does it really mean to real world? Do we live in the fake world until we come to Golden Gate University? No, but the material that you are learning is applicable to what you're going to be doing in your profession, or whether it's a future profession or a current profession. Many of our professors, such as John Lord, comes with a lot of experience. His experience is in governmental, mostly, but other professors are coming from across the street from any of the accounting firms and teaching. So we have a whole lineup of adjunct faculty who are bringing in the materials of what's happening in the industry and putting that in the classroom, which is really key and important. It's nice to learn about theory, but if you can't put it into practice, it doesn't really do anything for anybody. We have a great, robust relationship with the accounting firms. I know that some of you may have been to San Francisco before, and you know where our campus is located, smack dab in the middle of the financial district. You couldn't have asked for a better location. We are just kind of wrapped with all the accounting firms. The 3 of the big 4 are literally either across the street or around the corner. and the PwC is probably the farthest away. It's probably a 10-minute walk. But we have a lot of other firms, accounting firms, private firms, governmental agencies that are just in our neighborhood, and they are easily recruiting from us. So that's a great thing, because you don't want to be able to go through a program and then no employer really is interested in you. You want to have employers who are going to be interested in you. And that's the other thing about our programs. We do run advisory boards that are made up of industry professionals who give us feedback. So we are always tapping into the industry leading professionals out there, but our faculty are also a part of that feedback loop, because we know that they're bringing in the material and they're telling us what is current and relevant and how to always improve not only their course, but our program overall. And I don't know why I have said tax course offerings. I guess I didn't update my slide correctly, but it's accounting course offerings. And you're going to see a lot of accounting courses that we have just created that are starting to roll out this term that are around analytics. And this is what I get really excited about, because there's so much push and movement in the accounting firms for analytics that we want to make sure that you're prepared to understand how analytics is used in the accounting profession. And I say accounting and also tax, because you probably, if you're going out, maybe you're doing it right now, or maybe in the future, you're going to be working probably both sides of the aisle, meaning accounting or tax. You need to have an understanding of how both types of work is done and how analytics is a part of that. And then also, when you're looking for a university or a college, you also are looking for, why are they relevant in my world? Why are they important to me? Why should I look at them? Well, accreditation is one thing. You know, we're accredited by regionally accredited. We're WASC Senior. But not only that, we've also have earned some badges of honor, you know, that kind of showcase things that I've already talked about. Number one for adult learners for 4 consecutive years. Now that's important. Why? Because I said in the onset was, you're an adult learner, and we are geared for that, which is very different from somebody who's going from high school to college, right? If this is not your first go around in any kind of educational experience. Plus, you probably have some work experience under your belt. You've been out in the industry. Maybe you have other things that are characteristic of adult learners, families, hobbies and things that you've kind of brought along. But all of that comes into the classroom, and that's why we want to make sure that we relate to you as an adult learner and what you're bringing into the classroom, all those experiences, and how do we meet you in the educational experience? Where do we meet you? So we're number one for adult learners. Best accounting program for 2019. And I think we'll probably get another again, because when you see this new program, you'll even think that it's even better than our other program that we just transitioned out of. And then we're top in tax. Top in tax is a tax talent ranking survey program. And what they do is they go reach out to a lot of accounting firms. And I think in this last one for 2018, I haven't seen the 2019 data. The 2018 survey, they had over 600 employers surveyed, and our accounting program was ranked in the top 5. So that's awesome. I mean, I think those are things that are important, because not only do you have the regional accreditation, but you also have some industry badges here that really point to good things about our programs. Okay, the Master's of Science in Accounting, Data, and Analytics is our graduate degree. And I've kind of broken it down into 4 things. And if you haven't figured it out, I'm Italian, so I use my hands a lot, so I don't know if they're in the screen or not. But that's just how I roll. So in this program, there are kind of 4 levels. We have, or the benefits, excuse me. We have exciting, rewarding career paths. So if you're looking for public accounting, like I mentioned before, or private industry, government agencies, or nonprofit, they're all recruiting from us. We do a lot of recruitment events, and our alumni stretches throughout all of these careers, and they come back and they recruit from us. We had the pleasure of speaking to one recruiter yesterday for Moss Adams, who is talking about fall recruiting events and things like that, because they always recruit in advance. So they're always tapping into us and starting the conversation about how are recruiting. In this day and age, right now, with this situation, recruitment's going to look a little different. So we're trying to figure out what that's going to look like, but they're still recruiting. We get a high job placement rate with the Big Four. But I also say look up and think about what you really want. Is it a Big Four? Because that's a different culture than maybe a smaller sized firm. So keep your options open and think about all the different opportunities you might have. People typically will come here and they're like, I want to go to the Big Four because they have a huge brand awareness. But when they start talking to these other size firms, they're really astonished about what opportunities they can provide them that maybe the Big Four can't. So there's a lot of opportunities there. And then you have an opportunity to develop not only a vast academic network from your faculty and colleagues on campus, but you also have connections with the professional network of employers who come in and recruit from us. And then we also provide extensive support and mentoring. And all of these things kind of hover around adult learners because you're looking to apply your knowledge in a career position, whether you're applying it to advance in your current career or you're looking to perhaps apply it to your future job market. So there's all these opportunities. And the extensive support and mentoring, like career services, helping you figure out, how do I ask for a promotion? How do I work that into a conversation with my supervisor? How do I make them know that I'm looking for advancement? And how do I loop this degree into that conversation? Okay. The other question that we always get, or one of the questions we get, among others, is where do your students work? Where do your alumni go? So here is a snapshot of how of the different firms and organizations where our alumni have gone. This is a survey from this past year cohort. So when in the next several months, I think we'll have another survey. But you can see the larger the dot, the more alumni that are here. So there's a variety of different organizations represented here, just like in the earlier slide. We have the Big Four, we have the private, we also have, I think there's a nonprofit on here. I don't see nonprofit right now, but we have the private industry, we have the Big Four. So, it's an array of opportunities out here. Definitely the federal government, state agencies, they recruit from us as well. Okay, so let's switch gears and let's get into talking about what the MSADA, the Masters of Science in Accounting, Data, and Analytics, is, how it's built. Okay, so you're gonna start off with your proficiencies. Most of these courses are in addition to your courses that you, for the degree. So the degree is 30 units, but these are proficiencies that you bring in from another institution perhaps, or if you don't have them, you can take them here. So math is intermediate algebra, and then you have to have micro or macroeconomics. Again, community college, undergraduate degree, you can bring those in. These accounting foundation courses are 15 units, and they're listed here. So you have an introductory to financial accounting, introductory managerial accounting, you'll have an intermediate accounting 1, intermediate accounting 2, and auditing. By the way, this is a standalone certificate too. So if you don't want to do the degree, you can come in and just do the certificate course of accounting foundations that will also apply for you to sit for the CPA. So they fit into the accounting subjects part of the eligibility requirement for the CPA exams, to sit for the CPA exam. But these are also the foundation courses that are a part of the accounting degree. Now, these come from, again, community colleges here in the United States or universities in the United States. If you're a CPA, you've already passed all 4 parts of this CPA, we waive all of these. So there's different ways of meeting these requirements. If you bring them in from an outside institution, you have to have a B or higher in those 5 courses, just in the foundation courses, in order for us to accept them. And so, again, a lot of different ways you can take them. And if you don't, you can take them here. The core of the program is 30 units. And the 4 courses that are required make up 12 units. These are required. And this is also a standalone certificate. So the interesting thing about our new programs is that you can enter at any point. Let's say you don't want to commit to a degree, but hey, I really like this accounting, research, and analytics certificate. You could start there. And then afterwards, you can say, well, I do want to jump into the master's degree. And then you've already satisfied the core degree, core courses by taking these 12 units as a certificate. So it's kind of like a set of stackable degrees or stackable certificates. So the 4 courses that make up the core are accounting, research, and communication. The data analytics for accounting and tax is a brand new course. We're rolling it out. Actually, I think today's the first class session of it. We're really excited about this. This is the course that John Lord actually introduced. And now we have a faculty member who's teaching it who actually kind of built it out. And he's a CPA. He's a graduate of our MST, our Masters of Science in Taxation program. And he's been is almost done with the Masters of Science in Business Analytics at Golden Gate University. But more importantly, he's been doing analytics in the Big Four and now in private sectors since he graduated many years ago with his Masters of Science in Taxation degree. So he's actually bringing in what they're doing into the industry and bringing it into the classroom. Analysis of financial information is another analytics type course. It really uses analysis using Excel. So advanced Excel and how you analyze data in like K1s and other financial statements put out by companies, and how do you put it into an analytical form using Excel. And then how do you analyze the data and how you present it as another part of it. And then automation and innovative technologies. This is going to start introducing automation, AI, robotics, machine learning. So a lot of these things are going to be covered in that class, and this class will roll out for the fall. So in September 6th, when we start our fall term, that will be one of the first new classes that we're going to be offering. So again, this is the core of the master's degree. It's also a standalone certificate if you choose to do that first. But if you're doing the degree, you start off with these 4 courses or mix them in with some electives. So the core electives, you get to choose 2 core electives, and they can come from any accounting class that you haven't already taken, or you can take the MSADA 328. Now this is a class about creating visualization using analytics, and how do you tell a story, if you will, using analytics. So what kind of tools are they using? What kind of platforms? And so you'll be introduced to several different platforms that help prepare data and in a way that you can communicate to your clients, whoever you're presenting to. And then you choose 12 units of electives. So we started with 12 core classes here. We added 2 more electives. That gives you the 18 units. And then 12 units wraps up the 30-unit advanced degree. Those 12 units can come from any accounting courses that you haven't already taken, or a completion of one of the concentrations. And the next slide will lay out the concentrations. So here are the concentrations. This is John's favorite because it's CPA Applied Accounting. This course, or this certificate, it's also a certificate, by the way. So you'll see that I put in parentheses concentration and certificate, meaning you can do the certificate, start off with the certificate, or you can add this concentration on as your electives to your degree. So the CPA Applied Accounting is a certificate. It's created by John. There's 4 courses in it. Each one of those courses mirror one part of the CPA exam, all 4 parts of the CPA exam. And we'll be using Becker Materials, which is a CPA prep course program, to help you learn the material and prepare for the exam, so that once you complete the first course, you should be able to sit for that exam. We'll be using Becker Analytics, so you'll be able to test yourself and see how well you do on the exam. And these courses can also help you satisfy the accounting portion or the business related portion of your eligibility requirement to sit for the CPA if you're short some units. So these are graduate courses but they're designed to prepare you to sit for the CPA. John, I'm going to pause just for a moment. John, do you want to say anything more about that before I move on?
No, you pretty much covered it, Rocco. I'll just chime in that, again, reinforce, which Rocco already said, that what's good about this program is as you move through the core courses, and then if you were to choose this concentration, you can start to sit for parts of the exam as you're completing the program. So a lot of times what happens is students don't start looking at the exam until after they're completely done with their program. What's nice about this particular concentration is you can start to sit for parts of the exam as you're finishing up the program. The other thing I'll point out is the materials fee for this is a $1,400 fee up front that covers the materials for all 4 parts of the exam. So you pay that one-time materials fee, and then you get lifetime access to Becker until you pass the exam.
And I just also will mention, we are currently introducing this certificate only, or the courses if you take them as a part of your elective options for the degree at a discounted tuition rate. So it's $545 per unit, which is half price from what our current graduate course rate is. So just for these courses, not for all of our courses, just for these 4 courses. And that's going to be a discount that we're going to offer through summer next year. So you'll be able to take the courses now, or you'll be able to take courses fall term, spring, and then summer at the discounted rate. After that, it probably will go back up to the full price. Okay. The taxation concentration and certificate. So this is a certificate you can take. It's offered through our Braden School of Taxation. But the concentration includes 12 units. And by the way, these are all 12 units, if I didn't say that before. 12-unit taxation concentration. And these courses are helping you develop the foundation for tax. And if you decide to do an internship, which I'll talk about later, you can do a tax internship. The advanced analytic for accountants. This is, again, a standalone certificate or a concentration, 12 units. And we're taking courses in this program from our Masters of Science in Business Analytics. And we've pulled out courses that we believe are going to be very helpful for somebody in the accounting profession. And so on our website, I didn't list the courses here because I think it gets too much to read, but on our website or in our catalog, you will find all of the material information that I'm talking about. And if you take the Masters of Science in Accounting and Accounting Data and Analytics and add the Advanced Analytics for Accountants as your concentration, we are proposing this will be a STEM program once it's finally approved. So this will be a STEM program for those who are interested. Also, if you're deciding, oh, look, I've taken enough accounting classes, I really want to develop myself as a leader. We have added the Essentials of Leadership concentration as well as a certificate, 12 units. And these are going to give you some great courses on how to evaluate your own leadership competencies and where do you need to improve and how do you apply them in real world situations. The Accounting Data and Analytics certificate, that is the certificate that I mentioned earlier, which is just the standalone 4 courses that comprise the core requirements for the MSADA degree. And then I also mentioned the Graduate Accounting Foundation certificate, which are those foundation courses that you can bring in from another institution for the degree. But if you don't have it and you just want to work on those courses so that you can apply them towards the eligibility to sit for the CPA, you can do this as a certificate and standalone, and you don't have to apply to the degree. So again, many different options on how you enter any one of our programs and how they really feed into the overall master's degree. Okay, so another, like, how do I take classes, right? So you're like, okay, it's shelter in place. Campuses across the country and the world are closed. How are we going to take classes at Golden Gate University? So we've always offered our programs in 3 formats: in person, online, and more recently, we've been doing web conferencing. And I want to say more recently, but I would say recent if you think about last 3 years. So the last 3 years, we've been testing web conferencing. And we've had professors who've been testing it, and we've kind of learned from what they've been doing. And in the last term, spring term, which started January and just ended at the end of April, we rolled out for the School of Accounting, a lot of classes are just doing web conferencing. Now, for summer, we're remote. And we haven't made a decision about fall yet, so we're not sure what we're going to do. But here, a lot of universities in the state of California and across the country have already made a decision to be remote. So I don't know if we'll follow that pattern. We'll wait and see. But web conferencing is a great way to really get that in-person experience like we're doing today, except you're from home or from your office, wherever you might be. Online, the way we use that term online, it indicates it's asynchronous, right? It has modules, you work through it on the pace that the professor sets. There's no actual attendance required. You don't have to physically show up. Web conferencing, you have to show up. The same date and time that the class in person would be offered is the time and date that you would attend the web conferencing. Asynchronous online, no. Your exams are proctored, so you'll use a proctoring service if that's required for the assessment. Sometimes faculty do other types of assessment that don't require proctoring. And then I've already talked about web conferencing, which I think is a great way to take classes, especially now when you can't go to campus. I'd love to say we could occupy campus and that you could have that in-person experience, but this is a great in-between. And what we're seeing is a lot of students are really gravitating toward that, because even if they work in the vicinity of Golden Gate University, it takes time to come to the university. And if you're working and you might be working late or whatever, it could be running into your time to get to campus. So this is a great way to really get to campus on time without actually physically going to campus. So 3 great ways. You can do in-person, online, and web conferencing. Okay, what does an online course look like? And by the way, whether you're taking a class in person, web conferencing, and of course, asynchronous, we have what we call course shells on our e-learning platform that mirror the class. And the professors develop them in a variety of ways. I know John has course shells that are probably really robust with videos and lectures and other assignments and things. So even though you come in physically to campus perhaps, or you attend web conferencing and you hear him present, he will probably direct you to the course shell to do assessments, quizzes, assignments, posting materials, reading materials. And so that's what this course shell is designed to do. For the asynchronous, this is your portal for the class. But it looks very similar to any of the other course shells. It just depends on how the professor sets it up. So at the top of this one, this happens to be Accounting 302, which is the Accountant's Responsibility and Ethics course. So he's got the syllabus at the top. He's got a little bio on about him. And then you can see just in the week 1, this was a snapshot from last fall of how he organized this class shell for the week 1. Like he's got the online classrooms, probably got some rules in there about how he expects you to behave. He's got a welcome video. He's got a presentation, a PowerPoint presentation. Weekly discussions. This kind of emulates that discussion you would have in class, but it's a weekly discussion thread. He'll post a question, perhaps, you respond, your classmates respond to you, you respond to them. It has that kind of synchronous experience, but it's not really in real time. And then he has another academic integrity assignment, as he starts off the term. And then it keeps going, and it's well laid out. And your syllabus is in here, so you know kind of what to expect from your professors. So some of the professors will also do Zoom hours, like say office hours. Even though it's asynchronous, they might say, look, I'm going to be online from 5 to 6 o'clock on such and such date. If you have questions about the assignments or you need to meet with me, you can click on the link and join me for my office hours. So there's a variety of different ways that they build out these asynchronous classes to be really engaging, right? And I think that's important because you don't want to feel static like your professor's not engaged with you. So there's ways for the professors to be really engaged. And then you also have access to all the resources. Everything that I'm going to talk about, from what I have already talked about, plus what I'm going to talk about in going forward, is access to resources in library. Everything can be done remotely. So it's great. You don't feel like you're compelled to come to class if you have campus if you can't, or you just don't want to. Okay.
Rocco, I think one thing
Internship.
I'll chime in on for
Yes,
1 second
absolutely.
on what we were able to do with the e-learning course shell. If you're taking an online class, I think because a lot of the classes are having to record lectures now because of the COVID-19 situation, I think you can start to expect more instructors having videos up there because they recorded their courses already for a live or a web enhanced class, and then they're able to put those videos up in an asynchronous online class so that you're able to watch an entire lecture. Not that everyone wants to do that, but if you want to watch the lecture, you can do that, and you can do it on your own schedule. So there are some good things that are coming out of the shelter-in-place situation. I think that's one of them.
Yeah, I think it's really pushed a lot of universities, but we've been doing a lot of this already. So I kind of feel like I pat ourselves on the back because the transition to go from in-person to web conferencing was pretty smooth for all of our faculty because they've already been familiar with the tools. But I think you bring up a great point, John, and thank you for saying that, because a lot of the faculty now, with the Zoom, they can record their lectures and they don't feel like they just have to do a PowerPoint, which is a little bit more static. Even though they might voice over the PowerPoint, they can actually do this and make it more personal.
And then you can post those up to your asynchronous live class. Yeah. So it's an additional resource that I think is becoming, because of the technology with the web enhanced classes, it's becoming more readily available in all the classes, even if it's an asynchronous online.
Thank you. Internship. I've put the slide in here because I do get questions around internships. In the accounting and tax profession, it is very common to do internships. I think out of all of the programs and schools within the university, we probably host the most internships. Internship is an elective course. So you can use this for any of your elective courses. You can do up to 6 units of internship, depending on the concentration, or if you don't do a concentration, you still have an option to do up to 6 units. You must be in good academic standing, 3.0 or higher. We do a lot of recruitment events, but it's upon you to find your employer who will host you as an intern, or maybe they'll even offer you a full-time job. So even though we call it an internship, for them, it may be, I just hired you. So it's just a kind of a change of terminology. But for the class, we call it internship so that you can get credit. It has to be work that you haven't done before. So if you've done things like auditing, doing an internship in auditing wouldn't be really a learning opportunity, right? Because this is a class. And it is a class, and I'm your professor. And so you have papers to write, and I grade them. So there's actually work to do before you just get 6 units, right? The internship provides you the learning opportunity, but the papers tell me, what did you learn and how did you learn it? So it's a little bit more of a critical thinking assignment for you. So it can be seasonal. You'll see that here, for those of you who are not from the United States, those in the United States are busy seasons are usually January through April, but that's not always. Internships can be done in any term. We are a trimester school. So we have spring term, we're currently in summer, we just started summer term this week, 15-week terms, and then fall starts September 6th, excuse me. And so you can take classes all term long. So unlike a traditional university, their summer term is really not a semester. It could be like the size, 10 weeks, or it could be shorter. And some students take classes and some students don't. We have students who can take classes all 3 terms.
Rocco, can I ask a question?
So,
Yes, can I use these 6 units as my elective units?
Yes, these are elective credits. Yes.
Okay. So for my elective units in the program, I could do internship.
Yeah. The concentrations also have elective units. Some of them have elective unit options where you can use those. If you don't choose a concentration for the degree, you can do 6 units of internship as a part of the 12 unit of electives, right? Okay. So in a great way for you to segue into a job, interns usually get hired. So that's awesome. And we have a lot of resources to help you find internships. Other things that you should be aware of and that are important for you are all of the activities that we do, events. We have a great relationship with our Office of Career Planning, who funds or who hosts a lot of the recruitment events, but we also do workshops, lunch and learn workshops. These are professional workshops. They're from noon to 1. They start late July and they go through December-ish, beginning of December. There's either 1, 2, or 3 per week. They're hosted by either our internal staff and professional community, or our external employers come in and host different events. There's a variety of different topics, from resume writing, so all those soft skills, how do you recruit, how do you go about finding an internship from industry professionals, or there's some more technical type courses. So there's a variety. We also bring in outside expertise from different organizations. Right now it's a little bit tough because campus is closed, but we had a whole bunch of them on the books to roll out for summer, late spring and summer, but we'll have to rework those. But like Cal CPA, which is the local organization of CPAs, excuse me, or legal organizations, Tax Executive Institute, Silicon Valley Tax Directors Group. They all do different, we all do different types of events here, and that's great because we have this great relationship. So we bring these here, and typically they're free for you as a student, but their members pay to attend these events, but free for our students. We do an annual career fair late September. On that same day, we do a practice business luncheon. The business luncheon, excuse me, it starts around 11 in the afternoon, goes to about 1:30, almost 2 o'clock. And that is a networking luncheon where you get to practice networking at a lunch table with real food. And those are real recruiters or managers, partners from different accounting and tax firms. And you're seated at the table with equal number of students and employers, and you get to practice networking with them. And I kind of like speed dating, because what we do is once you finish your entree, then we change up the employers, and you have coffee and dessert with another group of employers. So you get to meet at least 8 employers, but you'll meet more because there's also these little networking opportunities that we have right before the session starts. So this is great. Now, I would say that we were going to run it. I would like to tell you we are going to run it in physical space, but it may not happen depending on what we're going to do for our fall term. On the same day, our career fair, this is our formal career fair that we do once a year, large. It has at least 30 employers recruiting from us. Some of those same people who are at the practice business luncheon will be representing their firms downstairs at the career fair. If they are not, they'll have other people representing their firms down there. But you get to meet a lot of different people, and you get to really kind of figure out, like, where do you think you're going to fit? What employer, what type of employer, whether it's a state agency, nonprofit, or any of the accounting firms from Big 4 to regional, national, and global size firms. So you have the gamut of everything. Now, going into this whole shelter in place and quarantine, we're actually looking at the opportunity to do it remotely. We just recently held a remote career fair, and some of our students got hired from that career fair. So it was a really small one. It was a networking meet and greet is what we called it. It was at the end of April. And I think about 4 students or maybe 5 got offered jobs. So it's still out there, right? Still happening. If it's not going to happen in the physical space, we'll make it happen in the virtual space. Okay, support services. As students, you need support. We all need support. Sometimes we're just confronted with a lot of different struggles. Or what opportunities are there on campus or virtually I can engage with just to kind of enhance my resume, my profile, or my networking opportunities? We have graduate advising. Once you become a student here, you will be assigned a graduate advisor who will work with you to map out your classes from start to finish till you graduate. We have tutors, tax and accounting tutors. They are available in person, or they're available web conferencing like we're doing today. Office of Career Planning. excellent resource. They have so many different programs and resources available to students. Not only do they do a lot of the events on campus, but you can go to their website and you can access, here's just a list of a few of the things that they have. This is just like, what, 10 items here? And there's a list that's longer than I can even explain of all of the different things that they've put together to help you find your career. And so there's a lot of resources there. Life happens. It's happening right now. I'm personally having life experience around me right now. I have kids behind me that you can't see, playing video games. I'm trying to do homeschooling, trying to do work. We've got all these things happening. I need somebody to kind of keep my mind set. So if you need that, we have wellness resources. I just go call John and complain to him. But, you know, we have wellness resources because, you know, we need that kind of support. There's a lot of things happening. And, you know, I jokingly say, I think there's going to be a rise in the membership for Alcoholics Anonymous because I think more people started drinking during this whole shelter in place. I hope not, but gosh. Clubs, get involved in the clubs. It's a tax and accounting club. And I know that John's been working with some outside organizations to bring them in. So there's a lot of different opportunities. And again, if you can't do it in person, you can do it remotely. Financial aid is there to support you and figure out how you pay for school. There are scholarships, there are grants that Chu is going to cover in just a little bit. And then there's VITA. What a great way to give back to the community then, to participate in the VITA. If you don't know what VITA is, it is a voluntary income tax assistance program. It's a partnership with the Bay Area United Way and the IRS to help provide tax services to low-income families and community members. So this is a great way to give back. We've been doing that for the last 3 years. We got cut short this year because of the quarantine, but you don't have to be a tax professional. They have training programs that you can do online to become a certified VITA member so you can do tax returns. It's a great way, and it also looks good on your resume because the firms also look for what else do you do outside of school and potentially work. How else do you contribute? And a lot of the firms have programs in their companies about community outreach and engagement. So this is a great way to show that you do that already. I've been talking a lot. I've been talking really fast, but I'm going to give it over to Chu, who's going to talk us through the admissions requirements and some other slides. And then we're going to wrap it up with a conversation around you and what your questions are. Take it away, Chu.
Thank you, Rocco. So for the admission requirement, GMAT is not required, GRE is not required. We will need your official transcript with degree verification. Ideally, you would have a GPA of 3.0 or better, but even if you don't have that GPA on a 4.0 scale, you're still welcome to apply, but in that case, you would want to submit a resume and a statement of purpose addressing any lower grades, what had happened, what has changed, your plans for success, why you want to come study at GGU, and why you think you would be a good fit. Additionally, for non-native English speakers or those with foreign credentials, the English language admission requirement is expected, and some common ways of meeting that is TOEFL or IELTS, or I know some test centers have been closed, so we're also accepting Duolingo, a score of 100 during this COVID crisis. And then it's also recommended you submit a resume, but again, it's optional unless your GPA is below 3.0 on a 4.0 scale, in which case it will be required. Note, if it hasn't been mentioned already, for international students planning to study on F1 student visa, the MS in Accounting Data Analytics, we're working to make that available for international students. But until it's approved, you could apply for our Master of Science in Accounting program. And the same goes for military students wanting to use their benefits. You could do the same. For everyone else, I would encourage you to apply for the Master of Science in Accounting Data and Analytics program, or one of the certificate programs as well. You could also apply or get started through open enrollment as well.
I'll just preface before I go on to the next slide. For those who are in the groups that Chu just mentioned, applying to the MSA degree, because this MSADA is not quite yet approved yet, doesn't mean that you won't be able to take these classes that we've been talking about. So you'll have access to these classes as well. So just be clear about that.
So I mentioned the language admission requirement for non-native English speakers and foreign credential students. So in addition to that requirement, we have the graduate writing proficiency requirement for all students, just to make sure students are able to write at a graduate level, which is an important skill for employers as well. So we'll be providing resources and information about that if you need it. And if you check our website, you could find a full list of different ways of meeting these requirements. So there's different ways for financing your education. After you're registered for classes, if admitted, you could pay in full, you could set up a monthly installment plan. We also offer federal financial aid for U.S. citizens as permanent residents. So if you're interested in that, you would want to fill out GGU's financial aid application as well as the FAFSA application, and the link is provided there with GGU's institution code. We also provide state aid based on need as merit. We also provide different scholarships, such as our international student scholarship for those planning to study on F1 student visa or plan on studying online from outside the U.S. in your home country, up to $15,000 based on your academics, such as GPA as well as English requirement. And there's other scholarships available as well, which you could find on our financial aid website. We could also assist with private and alternative loans. Sometimes we have students who have employers willing to reimburse their education, so we could work with your employer as well as you on that to make sure everything's covered. Again, if you are a military student, GGU is a military-friendly school, part of the Yellow Ribbon program, and you could use your military benefits, possibly attending GGU with zero out-of-pocket costs. Again, for the Master of Science in Accounting program, not yet for the Master of Science in Accounting and Data Analytics program. But all of this information, you could check out our website to learn more. So currently, for School of Accounting, one unit is $1,090. And then it's a little bit higher if you plan on taking a tax course, but you can find all of our information about tuition and fees at our website there. There is a $65 application fee, but all of you in attendance today will be emailing out the application fee waiver code along with the recording once it's available, so that you don't have to worry about paying $65. So GGU, as Rocco had mentioned, we're on a trimester system, fall, spring, and summer. So students can apply for any of these terms up to a year in advance. The prior admission deadline for domestic students is 15 business days before classes begin. For international students, we recommend applying and submitting everything at least 2 months before the term begins, and allow enough time for mission review, as well as a visa processing for international students once that becomes available again. With this deadline, that way you could get registered for the classes that you need and want for the section that you want. And then if you need to take any placement testing, at least 10 business days before the start of the term. So our summer term just started, but our next available term is fall term, which registration opens up on July 13th with a term beginning on September 6th. If you do
Thank
have
you,
further
Chu.
questions, you're welcome.
So you can email us at accounting@ggu.edu. And I also forgot to put in here, I was meaning to update this slide. info@ggu.edu is also an email address that will direct you to one of our enrollment coordinators who will reach out to you to help you through the application process or answer any other questions that you might have. But you can also just email accounting, and I respond to those in accounting at GGU if there are program-related questions. I'm going to stop sharing now, and I want to open it up. It is 12:52, and I want to open it up to any questions that you might have. So you can ask questions by chatting in the chat box, or you can just unmute your microphone and ask the question. And I believe we had a question in the chat box already. Let me get to my chat box. So in the chat box, I'll read the question out loud, and then I'll respond, of course, so that if you have the question as well, that it will be answered as also. So Christy asked, what is the difference between the Advanced Analytics for Accounting certificate and the Accounting Data and Analytics certificate? So the Accounting Data and Analytics certificate are comprised of 4 courses that are the 4 core courses that are in the master's degree, which is Accounting 351C, Accounting 300, Accounting 336, and then the new course that will launch in fall, Accounting 339. The Advanced Analytics for Accountants are courses from our Masters of Science in Business Analytics. So those course titles will start with MSBA, I think. Yeah, MSBA, and they'll have a number after that. But there are 4 courses, and you can find those list of the courses. Unfortunately, it's a new certificate and concentration that we developed, so I don't have them all memorized. But they are 4 courses that we determined would be really helpful for somebody in the accounting or tax profession, actually. Those courses in the certificate and in the concentration, there is a Math 240 requirement, so that has additional requirements because of the courses and the types of material you're learning. They'll be doing programming around R and Python, so you have to have the Math 240, which is a math analysis class. I can't remember the official title for it. So, but anyways, you will see that all on our website. And so if you do the certificate or the concentration, you will have that additional requirement for one of the courses as a prerequisite, which is Math 240. If I only want to get a CPA applied accounting certificate, do I still need to have all the accounting foundations? Yes, you do need to have the foundation courses. The reason for that is because they're not teaching you necessarily accounting. They're teaching you accounting, but more importantly, how to prepare for the exam and how to pass the exam. So the assumption is that you already have a foundation in accounting. John, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, you know, the foundation courses, we're talking about the 15 units. You know, those are sort of introductory accounting type classes. If I were to map out a path for somebody, I would say you'd want those 15 units either from us, or as Rocco said, you could get those from a community college. And then I would recommend having at least intermediate 1 and 2 before you started taking any of those 4 classes that constitute it'll comprise the certificate for the applied account CPA certificate. So I could see somebody having those 15 units, say from a community college, maybe taking intermediate 1 and 2. At that point, you would have 21 units. The 15 plus 2 additional classes, 3 units each, to 6, you'd have 21 units. And then you would take the first of those 4 towards that certificate. That would get you to 24 units. And assuming you had a bachelor's degree in any area, you would be able to sit for your first exam after taking that first class. So we've sort of structured that with the assumption that you're either going to take those 15 units from us, you've already carried them in from a community college, you take the 2 intermediate classes, and then you could start taking those applied certificate and CPA certificate classes and start sitting for parts of the exam right away. Hopefully that
Thank
answers
you.
your question.
Christy, does that answer your question? There's two, well, one's Christy and one's Christy with an IE.
Of course, Rocco, let me keep talking for 1 second.
Sure,
If
absolutely.
you already had an undergraduate in accounting and you're thinking about going for your master's, then at that point, you would have already had your foundation courses. You would have already had your core courses probably, and then you could start with those classes that would constitute that certificate and start sitting for the exam right away. So that's assuming you had an undergraduate in accounting, of course.
Great. And she responded, it does answer her question. So great, I'm glad to hear that. It is 12:57, but we can stay on a little bit longer if you have questions. Another question just came in. Are you required to have a bachelor in accounting or any related field before you apply for the master's program? No. You can have, it helps when you have to satisfy those accounting proficiencies or foundation courses, but no. Our degree is designed for career changers. And I think that's important because you know what they say? They say that your undergraduate degree is really your parents' desire, or you seek it because they tell you this is where you need to get a degree in. I just spoke to somebody yesterday who has a degree in pharmacy from UC Irvine, and then now she's doing the graduate accounting program. So the graduate degrees are usually what the student wants, and the undergraduate is really what your parents want in most cases. So no. You said, Ray said exactly, so I guess that's similar. So no, what we'll do is when you apply, you have to provide us your transcripts and everything like that, and then we assess what you're bringing in and what are the requirements and what do you need to do for your first term classes. So we work through that with you. I do the file reviews, is what we call it, and I make those determinations. Another question came in is ACCA diploma recognized anyhow at GGU? I'm not sure ACCA. Could you tell me what the ACCA diploma is? If it's the diploma that you've passed a chartered accounting program at in another country, no, that does not constitute like an undergraduate degree. So you have to have the equivalency of an undergraduate degree from any country. And different countries have different formulas, and those will be evaluated through our WES, which is WES, is the evaluation service we use, and that helps us determine the number of units in the program that you graduated from and how that equates to a US bachelor's degree. I think that might answer that question, Abdul Karim. If it doesn't, please let me know what ACCA means. Total duration, fees, and scholarships, if any. So scholarships, there are through financial aid. I would ask you to reach out through financial aid. In this current environment, we've been rolling out a lot of different scholarship programs and grant programs to help students, mostly with continuing students, but some are directed to new students that really help them because everybody's been hit by a financial economic hardship because of this COVID pandemic. So we're trying to help students navigate that and still want to pursue a degree. The total duration, it really depends on how many classes you take each term. If it's a 30-unit degree, assuming that you brought in all of your foundation courses and proficiencies from another US accredited institution, and you only have a 30-unit of degree, if you break that down into like 3 classes, we say no more than 3 classes or 9 units, you're looking at 4 terms minimum, 4 to 5 terms, right? But if you take less than that, then it takes longer. So it really depends on how many classes you take each term. All of the fees are on the website, so I would just encourage you to go there to look at the fees. So the Master's in Accounting, again, it goes back, they're all 30-unit degrees. If you're international, you're required to take a minimum of 8 units. Our courses are 3-unit interval semester units, so that would be 3 courses. So assuming, again, you had no other proficiencies or foundation courses, you're only working on the 30 units, then you would, it would take you about 4 to 5 terms. But if you have foundation courses or any other proficiencies that you still have to take, then, you know, you would have to add on a little extra time.
Rocco, I'm sorry, I just want to correct one thing, because I think I called them foundation courses for the 15 units, and then I said, and then you would take intermediate 1 and 2, and I misspoke, and the intermediate 1 and 2 is part of the foundation course.
Yes.
If assuming somebody had, say, an introductory financial, introductory managerial, and then took the intermediate courses, maybe took a tax class coming in with the 15 foundation units, then I would say you could start straight on that certificate. So I just wanted to clarify that because I misspoke.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry.
No, I appreciate that. Chu did put in the email address for financial aid. Again, you'll get the recorded version of this presentation, which has that information there too. So don't worry. The Association of Chartered Certified Accountants, ACCA, one of the accounting bodies related to International Financial Reporting Standards. So that is a diploma, a professional diploma. It's not an academic diploma, just like a CPA here. Having your CPA doesn't admit you to a graduate program if you didn't complete an undergraduate, for example. Well, here in the US, you have to have an undergraduate, but if you didn't have to. That's nice to have. It shows that you've done additional work in accounting. We don't use those courses to satisfy the accounting foundation courses, those 15 units, because they have to be US accredited courses. So any accounting courses outside of the US, they don't always use the same standards, and so we don't kind of go down that path. So they have to be accounting courses here in the US for the foundation. But you have to have an undergraduate degree from a recognized university from your home country as a minimum to get to for the application process. Murta, if you want to know the status of your application, I don't have the access to see that status at the moment, but we'll jot down your name. If you could send your name, I will have somebody look into it. Your full name, the one that you put on the application, so that we can make sure that we get the right person. We can look into it and get back to you on that. Oh, thank you. And is it possible to build my own concentration based around industry? Well, you wouldn't be able to build your own concentration, but what you would be able to do is not select a concentration and then take 12 units of electives around courses that you find interesting from our list of course options, right? So accounting courses. So yes, in that way, you're kind of developing your own. You're not required to select a concentration if none of them seem appealing to you, but you want to take different courses that are offered throughout our program. So yes, you can kind of create your own. We are at 5 minutes after the hour. I can stay on a little bit longer if you choose. If you feel that you have to drop off because you got to go back to work or you have other commitments and things, or your answers, your questions got all answered, and you feel like you now can make a decision, you can drop off the call if you'd like, or you can hang out and just hang out with me. I like people. I like hanging out. We'll give it a couple more minutes, and if you have questions, unmute your microphone, ask, or chat them, and I'll read them out loud. But if you feel like you've got everything you need, feel free to drop off. I think I've answered all the questions in the chat box. There was quite a few questions that came through. That's good. Yeah, it looks like I got them all.
Did you answer Monica? Okay.
Oh,
Monica
I just saw
just sent a question.
I just saw it, just popped up. If I did not receive a B or higher in a foundation course with my undergraduate degree, can I retake the course at community college? Yes, if you did not receive, in your foundation courses, if you did not receive a B or higher, you can retake that if you want to take it here at Golden Gate University, or you can take it at a community college if that seems more reasonable to you. The courses in the foundation courses, I should say, are priced at our undergraduate tuition level. So they're competitive with a community college, but you know, if you go to City College and it's free, it's not free here, just to be real. But you can take it, you know, at a community college. Depending on what course it is, it could prevent you from taking some other graduate level courses that has that as a prerequisite, but we work with you on that. Shakur, have a great day at work. Thank you for joining, and I'm glad you got all your questions answered. We'll hold on for like 3 more minutes, and I will, then we'll cut it, because if nobody else has questions, I'm assuming that that's the end of the
Rocco, one thing I would say on Monica's question, if you did not receive a B and you're going to retake the class at, say, community college, make sure you don't repeat it from the same institution. So let's say you got a C at a community college and you're saying, well, I want a B. I would recommend you take it from us, or you go to a different community college, because if you repeat a class at a different institution, the state of California will count that towards your units needed to sit for the exam and to get your license. But if you repeat it at the same institution, they'll only count that once. So if you are going to repeat a class, go to a different school than the first one you took it from.
Very good point. I didn't even think about that. That's a good point.
Or take it once.
Yeah, take it at another community college, then you get twice the credit. Like, that's a good point. Awesome. Okay. Again, feel free to chat or unmute your microphone and ask questions. We're here to help you. I'm going to use that, John, as I remember that, and the next time I present. I didn't even think about that. That's a good point.
No charge.
See, there is something I learned from you.
only took us a year and a half.
Thank you, everybody, for joining. It looks like we're at the end. Nobody's asked any more questions. People are signing off. That's wonderful. I hope you are being safe, you're with your family, and that you enjoy the rest of the week. And we will see each other somewhere else. Have a great day. Thank you.
Thanks, Rocco.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody.